My name's Aaron Kyro. I'm a sponsored skateboarder from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm gonna take you, the absolute beginner, all the way from knowing nothing about a skateboard to learning how to do your very first kickflip. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. First things first, I'm gonna teach you about the board, its various parts, and what you need to know as an absolute beginner. I've been thinking about doing this series for a very long time. How do I take an absolute beginner and make a series of steps, the absolute easiest steps, to a little bit harder, to a little bit harder, to a little bit harder. And I've been working on this for a while. I'm gonna show you guys all of the steps in a series of videos. So this first step, this first video right here is gonna encompass what the board and all of its parts are, as well as the first basic 10 steps of riding. I don't even want to go as far as saying the first 10 tricks, because these aren't necessarily tricks. They're really 10 different parts of riding, which I've put together to help you, yes, you, get comfortable on that skateboard, because everything is built upon your riding. Riding is the rock bottom basic of all skateboard tricks. So if you're really good at riding, you're gonna have a really good foundation, a base to build upon from there. Okay, so let's get started. We'll take it from the top of the board, the grip tape right here. It's just this little coarse, it's basically just sticky paper that's coarse and it's grippy on top. And it's basically tape, hence grip tape. Okay, so right here we have the hardware, which are basically just bolts and nuts that hold on the next piece, which is called the trucks. So we have the hardware holding on the trucks. So the trucks are basically made out of metal, and they have these little things in the middle here called bushings, and those are what allow your trucks to turn. Now the main thing you need to know as a beginner is that you put a skate tool on here like this, and it's righty-tighty to tighten this up, lefty-loosey to loosen it up. So you want to basically stand on your board and gauge, how does it feel? Just put your feet on the board and roll back and forth just like that. And by roll, I just mean lean forward, lean backwards, until you feel like, okay, that feels comfortable to me. As a beginner, that feels comfortable. If you need to loosen it up. If you need to tighten it up. Okay, the next piece is the board. In the back here we have the tail. It slopes down. And then on the front we have the nose. And in the middle we have this section here that jumps up like that. And you can see in the middle it's sort of bowed like that. That's called the concave, right in the middle with the concave. So tail, middle, up. And that is the board. The wheels here, you can get different sizes, different hardnesses, all kinds of different things. And in the middle we have the bearing, which allows that wheel to turn. And as a brand new beginner skater, the main thing you need to know is righty-tighty on this bolt right here, which attaches to what we call the kingpin, which allows your truck to turn. So as a beginner, you're trying to set it up so you can turn either more or less. You either want them tighter or looser. And you might say, well, what's better, tighter or looser? Well, the answer to that is it's personal preference. So whichever is better for you, that's what's better for you. And I better mention that if you want to get started on skateboarding and you don't have a board, we do have a really, really good board. It's called the Best Beginner Complete. It's available at brailleskateboarding.com, and that'll run you around $99. So that is a pre-set up board. You don't have to do anything. Comes in a box, looks just like this. You just pull it out. Bada boom, bada bing, you ready to roll. All right, so you got your board, you got set up in a nice, comfortable place to skateboard. If you're a brand new beginner, I highly recommend knee pads, elbow pads, helmet, and you can also use some wrist guards as well. So you pad up, get yourself ready. That way, anytime you fall, you're good, and you wanna be able to concentrate on your skateboarding, not on, oh, am I gonna get hurt? Okay, great. So you have your board set up just like that. And the first thing you're gonna do is not run and jump on your board like I was just about to. Don't do that. But pretend, yes, you're gonna have to use your imagination, that there's a sheet of ice there. And let's say you were running, and then you're gonna go, oh, I'm sliding on that ice. So for me, I'm sliding on the ice, and the more comfortable way is to put my right foot forward. That in skateboarding we call goofy. If you run and slide with your left foot forward, then that's left foot forward, and that in skateboarding we call regular. No, it doesn't matter, regular or goofy, it doesn't matter at all. But I'm gonna teach you how to push now that you know, because you ran and did the slide test that I just showed you, which way to ride. So you're gonna put your front foot on the board first, and you're basically just going to walk. That's it. Doesn't matter how awkward you look or how cool you look, just walk. So to start out, we're just gonna practice walking. Do we need to practice walking? We know how to walk, Aaron. Okay, thank you. Well, then you do. Then you don't need to practice it. Then fair enough. So just like a walk, you're gonna put your front foot on the board straight and your back foot on the ground straight. And then you're just gonna take a step, lift up, take a step, lift up, take a step, lift up, and that's basically it. Don't even worry about stepping on the board yet. Literally just go back and forth with one foot. Now you got that. Now you're rocking and rolling. You're stepping on with one foot and you're riding. Now the next step is you're gonna give it a push and you're gonna put your back foot on, turn your front foot there. Oh, so good. That turn was so good. So remember that, it's key, crucial. Put your front foot on straight, give it a push, step on, and then turn. Now you're in the riding position, you're ready to roll. Feeling comfortable, make sure your knees are bent. Again, knee pads, elbow pads, wrist guards, helmet, the whole 9 yards, you got it. And run it back, give it a push, and turn. And now you're gonna turn back and step off and give it another push and turn. Whoa. Now you're going the other way. Step off, give it a push, turn. Step off, give it a push, turn. Bend your knees. The most important thing that I can tell you about this step right here is bend your knees. I cannot explain that enough. It is so, so, so vital. So that is the basic step of pushing. Let's roll to the next step. Okay, so now you got your push down, you have your front foot forward and you're rolling. Now, as soon as you learn how to push, you might be thinking to yourself, wait a sec, Aaron, how do I stop? Well, good question, I'm glad you asked. So put your front foot straight and then just step off. Basically, what we were doing in the first step of give it a push, step on, step off, that's it. That's the absolute most easiest way to stop. So how are you gonna practice that? You're gonna stand still and you're just gonna step on and off. You might think, wow, that's so easy. That's the point. So one point I wanna make about skateboarding, all skateboarding, is you're gonna start out with a very solid base. So the more time you spend riding on your skateboard, the better. I'm talking about ride to the school, ride to work, ride to 7-Eleven, ride to anywhere that you imagine that you're going. The more time you spend on that board, the better, because you're building that base. No tricks, I'm talking no tricks, nothing. Just riding over cracks, just riding down the sidewalk, you're just riding. So here we go. The more time you spend, the better. Okay, so straight, forward, push, and then you're just gonna have your knees bent and step off. Again, keep your knees bent, step off. If you don't have your knees bent and you happen to lose your balance, I'm gonna show you what happens. Your knees are kind of straight. If your knees are not bent and you fall, boo! Leaning Tower Pisa to the ground. Now watch this. If I have my knees bent, I'm just sitting down. We're just chilling. So anytime you do fall, which I hope you don't, because I hope I'm giving you these steps in a perfect way so no accidents happen. Your falls will be much better if you have your knees bent. So that is it. That is the stop. That is the basic stop. That is trick number 2. Give yourself a pat on the back for accomplishing something today. Next step, basic backside kick turn. Okay, so you got your pushing down, you got your stopping down. Now you're gonna stand on your board with your knees bent, and this one is gonna be a little bit of an interesting one because you're gonna bend this one and push down on your back foot, just like that. Just start by doing the smallest little motions. We're not even quite up to this yet, but if you can do that, well, that's a bonus step. You're a little bit ahead in the steps here. But on this one, it's gonna also involve your head, shoulders, knees, and toes. So the rule is your head turns, your shoulders and arms turn, and then it allows your legs to turn. If you don't turn your head, shoulders, and arms, your legs are not turning. I mean, you can turn them a little bit like this, but then you're stuck and your balance is off and you're gonna fall, leaning Tower of Pizza to the floor. So we're gonna bend those knees, we're gonna turn the head and shoulders a bit, and then we're gonna follow with the legs. Turn it a bit, follow with the legs. And on this step, that's all we're doing. The least amount that you can bring up these wheels off the ground, just a little bit, the better. Just give it the ever so slightest little hop. and just do some turns. So once you got that, you can give yourself a little push and just do a couple little tiny turns. So that's backside kick turn. If you guys are thinking to yourself, these are too easy, that is the point, and that's what I'm talking about right there. But if you have just stepped on a skateboard for the very first time and you get all these down, you're gonna really, really, really improve. Also in this video, I'm gonna talk how to practice. I'm gonna teach you how to practice, so remember that's coming up. So the next, after the backside kick turn, which is turning towards your toes, we're gonna do the same thing, but it's gonna go the other direction, front side. So stand on there, knees bent, everything else, same steps as the backside, only you're turning this direction. Oh, that's harder, you say? Yes. Yes, it is. It's harder. That's why the backside one was first. So basic steps of that, same exact thing. Just lift up a little bit. Have your arms out. You want to have your balance, have your knees bent. Turn. Turn your head and shoulders first, and then your legs. Head and shoulders first, and then your legs. And just keep going. Stand still, do a couple 360s. You feel that burn in your leg? You don't need no Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda ain't wanting none unless, okay, now we're gonna give a little push and then just do the littlest tiny turn. Ready? Turn, shoulders, turn board. Shoulders, head, board. Shoulders, board, and that's it. Now you can give yourself a little action. Turn front side, little backside turn, front side, backside. Oh, we're gonna do a little 180 here. First try. Now we're really rolling out here. And that is your backside and your front side turn. On to the next step. Okay, so the next one is called the tic-tac. No, it's not a breath mint. Yes, it is moving backside and front side, how you were doing it with your backside and front side turn, just a little bit faster and a little bit more controlled, I would say. So again, you might be thinking to yourself, why are we doing all these basic tricks? It's to build your board control. Imagine this is the first time you ever stepped on a board, or maybe you were skating, then you stopped for 15 years and you're coming back. This is the perfect video series for you. So you ready? We're gonna go turn the shoulders, boom, turn the shoulders, boom. So what a tic-tac is this. Now, if you're doing a good tic-tac, you can be standing completely still and without pushing at all. Start your moving by doing tic-tacs. Yeah, slayed it. So that's the tic-tac. There's really nothing more to it other than combining the backside turn and the front side turn, keeping your motion small and quick, keep your knees bent, keep your eyes on where you're going, and just make sure that you have your momentum of your shoulders. That might be something that's really confusing at first. Shoulders, then legs, shoulders, legs, shoulders, legs, shoulders, legs, and then just go. Then you can turn. And then you can turn front side and turn back side. So you see how when I made the first video, how to skateboard for beginners, I'm really just teaching you this and some push, some basic things, but this is breaking the steps down even more to an even more detailed level. I hope you're getting it. Next trick, crab walk. You might be thinking, I don't even like seafood. Well, guess what? We're not sure who invented this name, but this is the crab walk. So for this trick, if you want to call this a trick, that's why I was like, this is more sort of like the 10 basics of riding, right? Just getting you comfortable with that board so you know, and you're starting to learn and understand, oh, if I push down here, this happens. If I push here, this happens. If I push here, it goes like this. The more you do that and the more time you spend, the more you really get to know your board, and that is really, really helpful when you start to do tricks like this. I mean, how many complex motions are there in pop, flick, spin, catch, land? There's a lot going on. So where do you start? You start with the crab walk. So you're gonna put your feet over those bolts just like that. I'm gonna have those 2 bolts on the side out. About half of your foot is on the nose and half of your foot is on the tail. You're just gonna lift up a little bit and then a little bit the other direction. And again, shoulders first, then your legs. Another important thing about understanding all of these basics is, you know, I've seen people that have great ollies and then they cannot frontside 180. And if all they really understood was this trick on the crab walk, that if you move your shoulders, then your feet, they could 180. Because it's the same. You pop, you move your shoulders, and then your feet follow. That's a 180. These basics go for all of skateboarding, all the way up to some of the most difficult tricks there are. So that's the crab walk. I hope you have a blast. On to the next trick. All right, so the next trick is called the standing tail stop. And I'm a little bit worried about you brand new skaters. Have the knee pads, elbow pads, shoulder pads, helmet on for this. This is how it looks, and I'm gonna give you the steps to break it down. This is a tail stop, okay? You might be thinking, wow, that's so easy. Not for all beginners, it is not. If you're a beginner and it's easy for you, well, you're a naturally talented human being with an exceptional outlook on life. Okay, so this knee right here is going to bend a lot. It's going to bend in excess of that degree. However much that is, I don't know. But you're standing there and then bend that knee. Standing there, bend that knee. And this one is extending. So push down, back foot, bring up front foot, bend thy knee. Repeat. You can spend 10 minutes doing that. I don't mind. And then you're gonna give yourself a little push and then bend that knee. You wanna hear it drag. But Aaron, isn't that ruining my tail? Yes, it is. It's what's called razor tail. But you, my friend, are learning how to stop. A standing tail stop. Another thing I'm gonna point out about the standing tail stop is, look at this. Well, guess what the first step of an ollie is, my brother? That's right, standing tail stop. Basically, you're just doing it faster. So again, these are the basics of all skateboarding. Stand and drag. That's it. If you spend enough time on this and you start with very slow movements, this will be very easy for you. And you, my friend, will be the best skateboarder in the world. Next trick in the list, turn by leaning. Okay, so now you gotta make sure your trucks are loose enough. Your board is down, you're standing on it, you lean forward, not that far, lean back. And just make sure your trucks are loose enough. If your wheels are coming off the ground, your trucks need to go looser. So loosen them up. Now, you're basically just going to give a push and lean to one side. By lean to one side, I mean put your weight on your toes. And for this, when you're very first starting out, I recommend standing over the bolts. Stand over the bolts because all your weight is directly transferring straight to that truck because your feet are right over the truck. And just turn in one direction, turn in the other. When you got this down a little bit, give yourself a little push and see if you can't do a carving turn 180. Dang, slayed it. Roll it back, carve that turn. Now we got that side, we're gonna try and go front side. Lean towards the heels. Got it. Get that? Once you get that, just spend some time cruising through the park, rolling back and forth, riding down the sidewalk. Have a blast. Second to last trick, backside 180 pivot. Let's run this. So what is a pivot? It is where you are turning from one central location, that back truck right there. So what we're gonna do on this is we're gonna do a 180 like that. We're gonna lift up, turn, and put down. So the practice steps of this are to do it in small motions. Have your back foot on the tail, just like that, and your front foot up there near those bolts. And then with your knees bent, turn your head and shoulders, take a step. Small steps, baby steps. Then I recommend doing it, go for 2 steps, 90 degrees, 90 more degrees. Boom. We're gonna really throw those head and shoulders hard, and then we're gonna turn a full 180. I'm doing it really slow for your benefit of visualization. Kind of sounds like Link throwing something, or Mario throwing a Goomba. Whoa, too much. So you're ready with that. So now just give it a good turn and roll. This is so important. So important to so many future tricks. Backside 180 kickflips, backside 180, nollie 180, fakie 180. Now we're just getting too far. But I get excited because this is so simple and you can learn this, but it's so important for your future of skateboarding, which I think is cool. Whether or not you just want to learn how to ride, you don't want to do any tricks, it doesn't matter. Have fun learning these steps. Ready? Throw this head and shoulders, turn, pivot down, turn, pivot down. And that is the backside 180 pivot. Now we're ready to flip it around and go front side. So front side is the same thing with the same practice steps. Foot on the tail and front foot near those bolts. And then just little tiny basic steps. It's the little tiny steps that count. Knees bent, remember, helmet on, elbow pads, knee pads, Braille best beginner complete, and turn it. Front side is generally harder. Some people might find it easier, but because you're turning what I would call also blind side, because this way you're looking where you can go and it's easier to look. This way it's harder to look behind you, and also a little bit harder maybe to turn your head. But you can turn and then pivot. So I'm gonna go 2 steps on this. 1, 2. So after you do a bunch of steps like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, now just 1, 2. Run that back. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now that you've got it in 2 steps, just roll the full enchilada. Hi-ya! Hi-ya! It actually does sometimes help if you give a little hi-ya, haryukin,
What language is that?
You know, when I was in Taekwondo, we used to make like, hey, yeah. Yeah, it helps. So you ready? Give it the full wangdanga swing of the arms, then the feet. Swing of the arms, then the feet. Swing of the arms, then the feet. It doesn't matter if your tail scrapes on the ground. It doesn't matter if you're not looking the coolest you could ever look. Just do the 180, feel good, add this to your tricks in the Braille app. Have fun learning all these tricks. As soon as you got them down, open up the Braille app and add them in there. These steps are all in the Braille app for both the free section, which you can just create your account on the Braille Skateboarding app and go through all the tricks. And they're also part of the paid section, which is called Braille Army Plus. And they're also part of this section on Braille Army Plus, where we walk you through the tricks, yes you, so you can learn every single skateboard trick with help from a skateboard coach. I hope you guys are having a blast learning all these tricks. This is the first video in the whole series. I will be making at least 8 other videos in this series. Usually on a series like this, I would not just throw them up on YouTube, but I thought, you know what? That's it. I'm just going straight YouTube. Everyone out there, every single person in the whole world, I want you to learn how to skateboard. Get one of these, get started, get riding on your skateboard, and have an absolute blast. This piece of wood with these wheels and these metal trucks have changed my life. And you never know, maybe it will change your life too. Because some of these tricks are not easy to go through. I'm trying, and I've been working for the last 13 years to be able to build something so that anyone at any level can go, I know nothing about this. And then I'm gonna take this all the way to this extremely complicated trick that everybody wants to learn, the kickflip. So by the end of this tutorial series, you will be doing that. Let's go, Braille Army. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you enjoy this whole series. Check out all those videos right there. Subscribe, like, leave a comment below, and you, yes you, go to brailleskateboarding.com and get started learning how to skateboard. We got everything you need.